Question? Why is it so hard to determine what the last common ancestor of chimpanzees, gorillas, and humans looked like 10 million years ago? Now here is my answer. Okay. So you wanted to know why it's so hard to figure out what the last common ancestor of humans, gorillas, and chimps looked like 10 million years ago. The honest response from science is simple. We don't have the organism with us. We don't have a full set of fossils. They are trying to put together a specific body plan using bits and pieces of information. First, there aren't many fossils of African apes from that time period. Fossils form under specific conditions, then have to withstand geological processes before being found by people. Second, we frequently only see pieces of fossils when we do, then the guessing starts. A jaw here, a tooth here, a small piece of skull. That makes it dangerous to rebuild the whole body. Third, the traits we care about are a patchwork. Different parts change at different speeds. Teeth may indicate a specific dietary regimen, whilst the postcranium may imply an alternative mode of mobility. Fourth, convergent evolution. And functional limitations can make lineages that are not related seem alike. That makes assertions like, this trait proves this ancestor, less clear. Note: what we mean by convergent evolution is that this occurs when distantly related organisms independently evolve, adapt, similar traits, such as wings or streamlined bodies, because they adapt to similar environments or ecological niches, not because they share a recent common ancestor. This is another guess in my opinion. It is like a scientist saying, I see that squirrel has skin to use as wings, he must have grown them, because we all know he wasn't designed that way, lol. Fifth, in genetics, ancestry is not necessarily a clear branching diagram. When lineage sorting is incomplete, gene trees and species trees can conflict, mainly when splits occurred close together in time. That can make it hard to see what the ancestor looked like. Sixth, dating is not always certain. There are still error bars even when using radiometric methods, stratigraphy, the part of the dirt it was found, and cross-checks. Those error bars, the longer the time, the longer the errors, are essential when the question is 10 million years ago. When you consider reconstructing the morphology of the last common ancestor, there is none, of humans, chimpanzees, and gorillas, it is challenging due to a limited and fragmented fossil record. The mosaic evolution of traits, the independent development of similar features in different lineages, incomplete sorting of genetic lineages across rapid splits, and inherent uncertainties in fossil interpretation and dating. If someone says they can see an ancestor, they are not talking about direct observation. They are talking about making an inference. Inference can be logical and based on facts. It is still not the same as seeing something. Fossils, comparative anatomy, and genetics can limit the options. They can say no to some things. They don't often let you make a detailed picture of one group of people from 10 million years ago. A scientific method begins with a clear statement, then makes predictions, and ultimately conducts testing for this subject, which includes topics such as what features should be found in fossils from different layers, what patterns should be seen in common DNA, what timing should match different dating methods, and what functional anatomy should match the environment and diet. People who really study do this work. The difficulty is that public debates typically miss the challenging phase. People go from there is a model to the model is a fact in full detail. That's not how science works. That's conveying a story using scientific words. You wondered why it's hard to picture what that last common ancestor looked like. It's problematic because you want a detailed depiction without the specimen or many fossils. DNA can tell us how closely related two species are and how they have changed over time, but it doesn't give us a complete body plan for a specific extinct population. Fossils can illustrate what things looked like, but the record isn't perfect or complete. If you say or imply that we already know what that ancestor looked like with confidence, you are offering an opinion that is dressed up as fact. If you want to keep it scientific, explain to me what evidence you have, what it says will happen, and what would disprove it. We all know that abiogenesis, inorganic to organic, and evolution, species adaptations and diversification, are not the same thing. Yet we also know that you cannot move to evolution until abiogenesis is complete. Abiogenesis is the study of how the first life system arose from non-living chemistry. Evolution is the study of how groups of living things change over time. In a purely naturalistic context, the absence of a credible genesis model for the initial self-replicating life precludes a consensus beginning point for the entire narrative. If you don't believe in descent with modification once life starts, you don't have a way to explain how life changes over long periods of time. That's why people argue. One side says beginning, and the other side says continuation. The problem is that confident sentences don't help with either issue. They go up or down based on mechanisms, limits, and testing. When someone says something like, "We can observe abiogenesis," or talks as if they know a 10-million-year-old ancestor, they are not reporting a verified result. They are making a statement. There are no pronouncements in the scientific method. It works when there are clear definitions, measurable predictions, and outcomes that others can repeat or check for themselves. Science doesn't often produce mathematical proof outside of math. It gives different levels of help. Evolutionary theory is well supported by numerous assertions, guessing, including natural selection, genetic indicators of shared ancestry, and documented adaptation. But just because there is significant support for some sections doesn't mean we can be sure of every historical detail, such as what a single ancestor looked like at a particular time. People, including atheists and scientists who act like that, are overselling. I don't have to think that this is a covert plan. I don't need that. I can see the control move clearly. It is control over language. It uses terms like settled and already done to stop inquiry, change the subject, and finish the conversation. That's not science. That's a way to argue. Real science likes tough questions because they reveal weak spots. To keep this scientific, do these three things. Explain the claim. Say what you think will happen. Name what would make it false. You are not following the scientific method if you can't accomplish it. You are telling me the story you want me to hear. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and follow.